and welcome to Grillacues around the globe. Today I'm doing some yakitori chicken with some shishito peppers on a skewer. One of the things I wanted to do when I created the Grillicue, as I've said before, is I wanted to do something that was able to replicate different cooking styles around the globe. Yakitori is the Japanese street food vendors. It's done over a very high heat on skewers. Okay, lots of different types of meats are cooked. The traditional one though is chicken, and all parts of the chicken is used. Gizzards, neck, skin and thighs. In this case I want to do thighs. The reason I want to do thighs are, one, they've got a lot more fat in them than chicken breasts, so they're a lot easier to cook. They're juicy, they've got full of protein, terrific meal. I've made two sauces to go on, a light soy sake mix to go on top of the peppers, and then a classic yakitori sauce to go on top of the chicken. I'll talk about more of those in a minute. What I want to do is first off is show basically how to prepare the yakitori skewers. I'm going to do a couple outside. It's 100 and something today, 102, 103. Not ideal conditions to be preparing food outside. So I'm just going to show one demonstration and then take it inside, finish them off and show you the cooking process. Okay? See you in a moment. Okay, so these are clearly boned chicken thighs. They've been laid flat. The grain is mostly running in this direction. What I'm going to do is use two skewers, put through the meat, both pieces, and then I'm going to be able to slice down the middle, leaving one piece of chicken. The other one I'm going to show you is the shishito peppers. That's what they look like as a rack, which works tremendously because they're laid on the grill. That's the simple process of simply putting the skewer in and giving it a twist. Try and line them all up. The shishito pepper is somewhat similar to the poblano in that most of the time it's beautiful, it's a sweet pepper, it's mild and very enjoyable. Then just occasionally you're going to get one that just is popping hot. Great fun. Okay. For the chicken, obviously, I would keep going down to the rack looks like that. Alright, with chicken, remember food safety, food handling, very clean hands, sterilised board, sterilised table, making sure everything's okay. Alright, so I'm going to take one stick and just twist it. I'm turning the stick as it goes through the skewer, as it goes through that meat. Okay? By twisting it, it should pass through a little easier. And I'm making sure the meat is getting wrapped up and getting onto that stick. Alright, same with the other side. Just passing through. With the rotation, it's going through the meat, through the meat, through the meat. As I said in the start there, the chicken thigh can be taken to a much higher temperature than the chicken breast. The chicken breast, much past 160, 165 Fahrenheit, it starts getting very dry. A chicken thigh is really done at 185 or perhaps even higher. Again, just rotating the stick, pushing it through and netting up the chicken. Now, true yakitori, they would have cut this into strips, but I'm going to do a slight variance. Okay, now keep going like that. Third chicken thigh onto it, and then I'm going to start cooking like this so it gets to a point, and then I'm going to slice it straight down the middle, and I've got two separate skewers. Very simple, very quick way of creating a lot of skewers in a short period of time. Alright, while I finish off the rest, I'm going to get a full chimney of charcoal going because I want a good grilling side. Okay, I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so while we wait for the coals to get hot, just a couple of things about yakitori and a couple of housekeeping things. Actually, housekeeping things first. The shirt. Several people have asked, what does carbon cabron mean? Well, carbon is charcoal, and cabron is kind sir. So it says charcoal, kind sir. Sort of. Okay, and I think it'd look good on a black apron as well. Alright, yakitori. It's actually got sort of a parallel history in many ways perhaps to a sort of southern barbecue. Back in the 7th century AD apparently there was a decree by the emperor to prohibit the killing of chickens specifically, and that sort of evolved into many animals. And so the country as a whole kind of went vegetarian. Then about in the 15th, 16th century there was a rise of going back to eating meat, and the meat became a bigger part of the diet, and then chicken became very fashionable, particularly heirloom chicken. So the best restaurants served the best cuts. In the street they served the chicken that was left over, so thighs, necks, gizzards, skin, etc., etc. And so the whole sort of yakitori history developed, and that's what street vendors are serving today. Essentially, the exciting bits of a chicken. Second thing about it is it's typically done over a very, very hot heat, and the griller queue does a wonderful job of replicating that kind of very intense heat by creating a depth of coals. So if you measure the side of the griller queue here, and then 3 or 4 coals deep, you can create essentially a chimney effect, which draws air up through, so the charcoal burns very, very hot, very intensely, and you get that intense sear. The Japanese, when they're cooking yakitori, use typically a very specific type of charcoal, which has come from one specific tree, prepared a very specific way, and burns incredibly intensely. Okay, the second thing is that the sauces used are typically dipping sauces, so the raw chicken is dipped into a sauce and then put on the grill. Now, the thing about that is the sauce is not boiled, it's not prepared. It's much more like a kind of a sourdough of sauces, where the sauce is essentially allowed to evolve over time, you know, the 10,000 years, so that they start cooking the yakitori and then dip it into the sauce when it's a little bit cooked, and then finish it off with the sauce on. This, of course, is putting semi-cooked chicken into a sauce, into a clay jug, and then being put on the grill. So that clay jug is really a fermenting sauce, which, you know, we wouldn't touch with a very long pole in the West, but when the pros do it, it tastes fabulous. And of course, you know, repeatedly doing it builds up a depth of flavour. So, you know, with sort of the usual flamboyance, the 10,000-year sauce is the one that everybody wants, and consequently each yakitori stand has a very distinctive flavour, simply because of the way that their sauce has grown over the years and developed with each successive dipping. So that's the story. But as I say, the griller queue really can help create this. We can create a very, very hot fire. The ability of the griller queue to be moved at various sections to create different size zones within the barbecue really helps to create a tight zone for doing intense grilling, and then a big area for rest, or alternatively a large area for cooking and a small area for rest. It's entirely up to you and how much you've got to cook and what you've got on the day. Okay, see you in a moment. Okay, so the coals are well lit. Let's get this show on the road. I'm just going to put the griller queue straight in. This is one of the earliest ones I ever made, actually. And you see, hundreds are cooked later. It's still in terrific shape and works just as well as the day it was made. Okay, I'm adding the hot charcoal. Hot charcoal. It's about a full, there's a full chimney of hot coals there. I've also put in some foil, and really that foil is there to create that draft to run up on the side the charcoal is, to get a hotter cook temperature. The chicken is going to go straight on. Now, I'm taking it right to the edge to keep those sticks, the end of the stick, nice and cool, because this zone here is going to be quite cold. This zone here, extremely hot. Put on some of the peppers. one at a time. Now, and I'm also going to start doing just a little bit of corn. Okay. As you can see, already starting to flare up. This is hot, hot, hot. I'll keep turning them maybe every 30 seconds or so. The idea is here to get that chicken cooking, okay, for maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Just keep turning it, keep rotating, keep moving it. See, this chicken is doing terrifically, and the idea, as I was just mentioning, is get it to a near temperature, get a nice sear on it, and then add the sauce. If you add the sauce too early, the sugars in the sauce will caramelize and then burn, and you won't get to where you need to be. Look, beautiful blistered peppers. Those are going to be fabulous. Same with the corn. I'm just rotating around. This corn was already pretty much cooked through before I put it on here. Really, I'm just getting a bit of charcoal flavouring on there. Okay. Let's just keep these turning. You see how beautifully brown they're getting. Very, very hot fire. Just keeping them turning and trying not to burn myself from doing this. Alright. Next we're up with the peppers. Okay, so the sauce is being used. The other big advantage here, I'm going to take advantage of the cool zone just to give them a rest every few seconds. Stop them burning through. Okay. Peppers blistering. Alright, the pepper sauce. One pot. I don't want to confuse it with the chicken sauce. This is basically very simple mixture of soy sauce and sake. So the soy sauce is very salty, the sake can be a bit sweeter. Gosh, that's hot even above there. Okay, let's turn these peppers over and feel them, smell them cooking, and they're fantastic. Let's see how they're blistering up. Beautiful. Alright, so that mixture is going on, basting all of them. Because of the intensity of the heat, whilst the outside might be getting brown, the inside is still got that translucent colour to it, a translucent appearance to it. So you can lovely and brown. These things get close. Okay, I'm going to move that over. I'm going to slice straight down the middle to create 4 skewers out of the 2. So it's easier just to handle the 2 while they're getting ready to cook, and now I'm going to slice them to create 4 skewers. Okay. So you can see this one, just taking a sharp knife, going straight down between the 2 skewer sets. Okay, there we are. Let's put it straight on the uncooked side on top of that. 2, 3, 4. I'm now going to use the Yakitori sauce. Remember, it's quite high sugar, so and I'm also using a different that's hot. Okay, now keep rotating until done. So, 4 to 5 minutes of turning and basting later, still extremely hot fire, but you've got these beautiful, tasty chicken skewers with the yakitori sauce, and the shishito peppers, and corn thick. The whole thing, the whole cook time for this whole lot was about 8 to 10 minutes. The chicken is at the great internal temperature of about 185, which is where you want it to be. I know that because I've probed it with a digital thermometer, and because I've had to eat a few chunks because it's that good. Alright, get yourself a grill cue, get on the grill, use your Weber kettle, make some of this stuff. It's terrific.